This video is brought to you by the number 10. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is a book tag. It's a book tag without any notes. I made some notes, don't know where they've gone. So there might be some pauses while I remember what the prompt was. But I want to do it tonight because it's a hectic weekend and I think it would be a good time to do it. So this was originally a tag created by the Bumbling Blogger. So big shout out to Bumbling Blogger. It's a very awesome tag. It's all built around numbers. The numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I was tagged by MJ from Reading This Life. So massive shout out to MJ and thanks for tagging me. And I've got a bunch of books here that relate to the prompts. And I hope you get something out of these books. I think I've tried to, like I always do with these tags, try to find books I haven't mentioned yet or not very often. So interesting prompts. Let's go. The first prompt, number 1. This is the prompt for the number 1. First book in a series. I did a special video on this book when I read it. I really enjoyed it, but it was a slow burner. So the first 50, 60 pages wasn't really feeling it, and then it started kicking in and I really enjoyed it. So The Blade itself, Joe Abercrombie. So this is clearly the first book of the first Law series, and lots of people have read it. There's tons of booktube videos where people review it, and I definitely highly recommend it. But just stick with the beginning because it takes a little while to get going, and I do think it's kind of setting up the next book as well. So if you watch my video, you can see that I didn't think it was perfect, but I did think it was really good, and I do want to read the other two. So I've bought the other two, haven't got to them yet. The Blade itself, Joe Abercrombie. It's dark and violent and nasty. Number 2. 2 copies of the same book. So I've given you 2 examples to illustrate a big point about me and my buying habits. So you've got 2 copies of Hound of the Far Side, 2 copies of Valley of the Far Side. See, the thing is, I haven't got a very good way of tracking which cartoonist books I've got, and I've probably got all of the Gary Larson books, but clearly, at least on 2 occasions, there's other examples of this. At least on 2 occasions, I've doubted myself and bought another copy, thinking I didn't have it. Hound of the Far Side. Exactly the same cartoons in that one. Some gentle humour. Exactly the same cartoons in this one as there is in this one. Don't need 2 copies. I'm not likely to get rid of it though. So that was my number 2. Number 3 is a book with 3 colours on the cover. So this is one of my Murakami books. So I haven't read a Murakami book yet, but I've got about 5 books of his, and this is Underground. Clearly, the prompt is answered by the colours red, black, and white. Have you read Underground? I'll read the back. The true story behind an act of terrorism that turned an average Monday morning into a national disaster. In spite of the perpetrator's intentions, the Tokyo gas attack left only 12 people dead, but thousands were injured and many suffered serious after effects. Murakami interviews the victims to try and establish precisely what happened on the subway that day. He also interviews members and ex-members of the Doomsday cult responsible in the hope that they might be able to explain the reason for the attack and how it was that their guru instilled such devotion in his followers. So that's Underground. I'm imagining that's a bit different from Murakami, but maybe not, I don't know. But I've got a few of his. Still haven't read any yet though. So that's number 3. Number 4 is a book with 4 or more perspectives. So I have mentioned this one before, but not for a while. And this is a very awesome book called Prince, The Day I Was There. There's a whole series of books called The Day I Was There from different music artists. and it's all about Prince. And the idea of this book is that they are basically anecdotes by members of the public that have been to see him. So clearly, I mean, there's hundreds of perspectives in this book because they're all stories about people's experiences having seen him live. Some are quite long, and some are quite short. I'll find you a short one. Yeah, some are quite short. It's a really good book. It's a fascinating insight into some of the things that people experience through seeing him. And it's written by my wife. Number 5, the prompt number 5, is a 5-star read. So Zamyatin's book We is a fantastic book that was the kind of predecessor to 1984. It's a brilliant dystopian novel which has got the main character that is very happy to be in this society called One State, which is ruled by a dictator. Everybody knows their place, everyone knows their role, and it's very clearly defined what your life is. And basically he gets involved in some like kind of resistance organisation, and it's about his realisation that it's wrong. Dictatorship is wrong. So it's a really good book, really, really good book, and definitely recommend you read that. I think I recommended this in my video for short reads. It's only 220 something pages, but it's fantastic. So that is my 5-star read. The prompt number 6 is 6 or more short stories. So I have chosen a book that I'm going to reread in early next year, and I would like to build up to a video about H.G. Wells, and this is The Country of the Blind and Other Stories. So this has, it's about 20 stories. There's about 20 stories in this. The most famous one being The Country of the Blind. And I read Country of the Blind in school, and it absolutely knocked me for 6. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget the experience of reading it in school. I absolutely loved it. It's obviously got the very famous line, in the country of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Prompt number 7, a book with the number 7 on the spine or the cover. So this is Harlan Ellison's graphic novel 7 Against Chaos. I'm going to do some Harlan Ellison stuff next year, and 7 Against Chaos is a graphic novel he wrote. To give this some context, in the far-flung future, humanity has colonised the solar system, conquered its genetics and mastered its destiny. Decadent societies sprawl across the known worlds, built on the backs of slaves, powerful robots and extraordinary reordered humans designed for war, labour and pleasure alike. But humanity's hubris is about to meet its nemesis. A fire buried millions of years ago is flaring up to consume them all, stoked by an enemy who will stop at nothing to see mankind wiped from existence, and the fate of history itself lies in the hands of 7 of society's rejects. 7 Against Chaos. Prompt number 8 is a book with 8 letters in the title. And this is one that I got so excited that I'd seen it in the shop because I didn't know it existed. I'm a huge fan of the author, and I bought it and I still haven't read it, and I ought to read it. So this is the picture of the author. Can anyone tell who this guy is? It's David Cronenberg. So David Cronenberg, I think, is one of the greatest film directors of all time. And this is a book called Consumed. I'll read you what it says on the back. It sounds very David Cronenberg, I tell you. Naomi and Nathan are lovers and competitors who encounter each other only in airport hotels and browser windows, nomadic freelancers in pursuit of sensation and depravity in the social media age. Naomi sets out to investigate the death of a Marxist philosopher and sexual libertine found mutilated. And so begins a wild story that features cannibalism and 3D printing, North Korea, and sex of every kind. David Cronenberg. Say no more. The prompt number 9 is a book that ends on a page with a 9 at the end. So, got to find the end for this. Yeah. This book ends on the page 359. And it's actually a book of Terry Pratchett's short fiction. So I didn't know this existed until I found it secondhand and snapped it up. I thought it was an awesome find. A Blink of the Screen by Terry Pratchett. Have you read this? It's kind of split in half. There's lots of non-Discworld short fiction at the beginning, and then there's Discworld related short fiction in the second half. So if you're a Terry Pratchett fan, you may want this. I've got loads of his books, and again, hopefully next year, maybe the year after, I'll be doing a Terry Pratchett video. You alright, Ralph? Do you want to come up here? Good boy. I'm chilled tonight. And then the last prompt, number 10, is a series that encompasses more than 10 books. So I'm going to show you these books here, which I've got 4, 5, 6, I think I've got about 9 or 10 of the books in a series so far, and I've only read 2 of them. So I'm talking about the Dresden Files. So the Dresden Files are really cool series of books which are all about Harry Dresden, who's a detective and a wizard, and it's all about kind of supernatural murder cases and how he deals with them. So I've read Stormfront, that's the first book, and there's also Full Moon, which I don't have down here, but I do own. And then there's loads of others like Grave Peril, which is the next one I need to read. Grave Peril. I think Summer Night is a little while after that. This is Small Favour and White Knight. Deadbeat. Which other ones have I got? I've got Proven Guilty, and I've got, which ones have I got? I've got Blood Rights, Death Masks, and Proven Guilty. I think the other ones I've got. So the Dresden Files. Have you read the Dresden Files? I think the first 2 I read were really good. So looking forward to getting back into that at some point. I think there's about 17 in the series. So that's the 10 prompts for the Count to 10 with me book tag. So again, I think it's kind of nice little tag that takes you in different directions with your book collection. Have you read those books? What do you think of those books? Do you think I should stop buying Gary Larson Far Side books? Thanks a lot for watching. And thanks again to MJ for tagging me. I should tag people. Should I tag people? I don't know if Read by Fred has done this. So I'll tag Read by Fred. I'll see if Greg from Another Bibliophile Reads has done this. I'll tag him as well. And Tony Morrow as well, who is a channel that I've mentioned previously. I'll tag Tony Morrow as well in case he wants to do it as well. So yeah, those 3 people I'll tag. Thanks again for watching. See you later. Bye.